Yes, Dana. We're live. Hi, everybody. Oh,
Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday,
happy
Steve.
Friday. Happy Friday. And what a what a perfect evening to just relax, take a break from whatever stressful current events you may be thinking about or dealing with, and watch
So many
what,
stressful
what
events, actually.
there are so many possibilities for what that could be. Yes, and
So the
just
washing
watch a
machine
funny
not
movie.
working, the car not working,
Oh, that
the
okay.
water main broken.
Okay.
Uh,
That's just but and see and that's just specific to you.
yeah, yeah, all that stuff. Ooh, here we go. Tangles in my hair. I'm not really stressed about that.
255 AD historically one bad debate for the most part does not
Do
change those
anything.
sorts of things. I mean, people like to talk about like Kennedy and Nixon,
Yeah.
but people forget how close that election was. Like it's not as though Nixon had a bad debate and Kennedy just completely beat his ass from then on. Like Kennedy did ultimately win, but it was super close.
Also,
And
wasn't it
yeah,
the Nixon Kennedy debates like
well,
plural
it was the first one
set the
that people
tone?
point to as like as sort of putting that contrast in people's
Mm,
minds of, oh, Kennedy's the vigorous young, you know, scion of the new generation, and Nixon is the
mm,
sweaty old Republican
yeah.
who, but like that's an oversimplification.
It
Um,
really is. Well, and also that particular contrast does not, I mean, Trump is not that much younger.
well, and also people
And
forget.
it's also not the first time that people have seen the two of them together.
No, and people forget, or not everybody forgets, but some people have forgotten. Or Obama had a bad debate against Romney in 2012. Their first debate did not go super well for Obama, and
Mhm.
people were like, "Oh shit! Oh god!"
Yeah.
And that was a lot closer to the election than this was. And I mean, now, granted, Obama's performance was not as bad as Biden's, but still, like yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it's, and
Well,
also people have,
presumably Romney's performance was better
oh,
than Trump's.
Romney's was better than Trump. Yeah, it's apples and oranges in both cases, but, um, and also people have pointed out both at the rally that he attended after the debate last night,
Hmm.
and then today he had a rally in North Carolina. Biden did, in both cases, he came across much better than he did during the debate, especially in the footage I've seen. I watched just a
North
couple. I
Carolina.
didn't watch
Yeah.
the entire event, but just the clips I've seen of him in North Carolina today came across really well. Um, so, you know,
Yeah, but
yeah,
that means he needs to be consistently good from now on, because otherwise that
yes,
raises
oh
the
yes,
question, it makes it seem like he's unreliable. Like
he
we
needs
can't
to be
rely on him to do a good job as a leader.
he needs to be consistently good, and he needs to find a way of being consistently good enough in enough high profile places that enough people can
Hmm.
see him
Yeah.
without making it seem like he's playing it safe. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And that's
Like,
one of the things
yeah,
the debates are different, is that people from, all sorts of, it's not just Biden's camp who's going to be there, who's going to be watching as well.
right, yeah. So, but anyway, we're not talking about all that tonight. I did a video about that earlier and said my thoughts about that.
Well, fine, Steve. Nobody cares what I think anyway. That's fine.
What do you think, Dana?
I think, well, kind of what I would like to ask my conservative neighbors, let's say the people around here, is
Let's say.
there anything that Biden could say or do that would matter? Because I think for a lot of people, it's just they're gonna vote straight ticket.
I think that's the case on both sides. Yeah.
So it's really more about mobilization. It's going to be a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, please
Getting the word out.
ask your local party about canvassing opportunities. I just got notification. I just checked. I haven't gotten more information about it through the Educators Association. They're compiling information about candidates, and they're going to be having paid canvassing in Georgia, and it's like almost $30 an hour. Now, I mean, it's part time, and
But it's
it's
paid.
actual
Yeah.
physical canvassing. So you're walking around talking to people in person, so that can be very challenging, and especially in this heat.
I was
I'm
going to
not
say they
sure how
better
soon it
pay you.
starts. Yeah, I'm not sure how soon it starts. Like the pamphlet specifically mentioned, even in warm weather. I'm like, it's June, my friends.
Like, when is there not going to be warm weather
Warm.
between now
We're
and?
in Georgia. Between now and now, in fairness, I will say, having worked at the amusement park for their Halloween event, it shifts. October, like the first weekend, it's so hot. And by the last weekend, Halloween weekend, it is cold. It's
Yeah.
cold. And so, one of the things I like about it is that the costumes like are bulky enough that you can layer underneath, and they're not heavy, but they're loose enough that, or for mine was anyway, I was able to just like tank on the layers. So
yeah. 255 AD. Yeah, I get what you mean, and I do think
yeah,
stuff like
hindsight
that
is
tends to
2020.
be stuff like that tends to be more important. I mean, um, look at the well, I don't know, for anybody who's old enough to remember the election in 1992. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they called Bill Clinton the comeback kid. Part of it was also that he did so poorly. They called Bill Clinton the comeback kid for a couple reasons. One reason was he gave an infamous convention speech in 1988 that just bored people to death. It cleared out the convention hall. Like, it was terrible. And people said, well, that's it for Bill Clinton, at least as a national candidate. Cause
And they were wrong.
and then he came back in 92. Yeah. And not only did he come back and get the nomination eventually, and then of course win the election, but he was not, I mean, there were times during the primaries when he was trailing, and then he came back and got the nomination. And then remember, that was a 3-way race. It was between him and H.W. Bush and Perot, who was the last third party candidate to actually make a decent showing.
The main ballot, and have a good showing.
And I mean, he didn't get anywhere close to winning, but he made a much better showing than typically a third party candidate would. And Clinton won and overcame low poll numbers and all those scandals, like the people accusing him, probably accurately in hindsight, of like sexual harassment and all these terrible, and sexual assault even, and all these terrible things. And people were like, oh, there's no way this guy's going to win. And he won. So it's not as though, oh, that's the nail in Biden's coffin because he had a really bad debate. Like, it's not, I'm not trying to say like, oh, it's nothing to worry about, or that, he didn't do a bad job, because he did do a bad job. But it's not like, oh, that's the ball game, it's over. No, it's not. So hello. Oh, no, I can't hear you.
Right, because I muted myself because I noticed the light was not. I'm like, plugged in, wasn't light not on. It wasn't plugged in all the way. So I with that.
So now you're all good.
The light is on. But although apparently you could understand me anyway, so not a big deal. But I do care about these things.
Yeah. Well, and for those instances in the next 90 minutes or so when you can't resist quoting the movie, we want people to hear you
and suffer along with you.
So speaking of which, because we do have a whole movie to watch tonight.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Why don't we get started? So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is a watch along stream. You are going to have to provide your own copy of the film. So
it is available where?
I am watching it on Peacock. Dana, of course, you have your own copy that you're watching on your computer. But so wherever you happen to have access to it, please have your copy of Clue queued up and ready to go, paused at 0000, because that's where we're going to get started. And Dana, do
So,
you want to talk everybody
yes.
through the procedure?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say, Mr. I Love the Ants, Dana commentary is probably going to be two parts. The first part is trying not to recite the lines of dialogue, and the second part is, oh, this is so good. Oh, this is so good. There are a lot of so good moments.
I imagine there will be a lot of those.
A lot of those. I will try to say things that do not repeat, but add to and build on, and also don't detract from it. So we'll see. And so anyway, make sure if you've got whatever version you've got it queued up and it's set to 0000. Now, Steve, have you got time code set up there?
I just turned on the time code just now.
There we go. So when Steve says 3, 2, 1, play, we all click play on play. So make sure you have your cursor over the play button. Mine is not showing up here. Hello, do the thing. There we are. There it is. Okay. And then we watch the movie together. And
That's
if
correct.
something happens, like if you get a spinning wheel of death or something, you can just, sort of get, it doesn't have to be exactly right. I mean, come on, it's Clue the movie. Hopefully, if this is your first time seeing it, I really apologize. It's gonna kind of be more like Rocky Horror Picture Show, to be honest. Another Tim Curry flick.
That's true.
Although I don't have any toast to throw, and I wouldn't anyway. I would probably eat it. So I do have a snack though. So I will.
Why waste toast? Don't waste toast.
Al, it's the first part is the credits are not real. It's I love it. I love the whole thing, but there's not a whole lot happening there. So you've got a little bit of time. So get with it, and then you can just catch up.
You can catch up with the time code. Exactly right.
Ta-da!
Exactly right.
All right, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
All right. I am sure you are. Okay, everybody. I'm going to count this in, like Dana said, from 3, and hit play when I say play, and we will watch Clue. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Like literally, if they turn the volume up and I hear that across the house, I know that note.
You're like, oh, you're watching Clue.
I won't even say it. I'll just show up like 2 seconds later. They're like, see, my husband did it to my daughter. He's like, see, I knew she'd show up. And I love the music too. The music is so good.
Tim Curry, are you familiar with his work, Dana?
I think I've heard of him.
Marty!
Wasn't he on the sitcom with the building stuff, the Home Improvement?
Oh, boy, and I know you're a fan of. That's.
Well, somebody said something about, they were talking about the debate, and they said Joe the plumber, and I was like, I could not place it because my brain was like, from Home Improvement. I'm like, no, brain, I know that's wrong. Joe the plumber is not like
Joe the plumber was not in Home
character.
Improvement. No. I'm sure Tim Allen would have offered him a role if they had overlapped, but no.
Mr. Body's Body, it's gone. Great taste.
All-time favorite movie. Nice.
I don't know because I love Galaxy Quest. And speaking of, I mean, he did a good job in that.
Oh, yes. Oh, he's given some good performances.
Oh, yeah. It's a real bummer when, somebody whose work you admire is just an ass.
Indeed.
Kara. And Monk, Tim Curry and Monk.
As by the way, you just saw, if you're paying attention to the credits, you just saw producers John Peters and Peter Guber, who are also the producers on Batman. So that's quite a career arc to be producers on Clue and then also producers on Batman.
Yeah, Mr. I Love the Ants. That's part of why people think that the theory for why it wasn't a commercial success in theaters And I think it was regional. So like you couldn't even go to a different theater to see a different ending.
Right. Yeah, different parts of the country got different endings.
Such good babies.
Yes.
Although interestingly enough, it's Dobermans later.
Also, Deborah Hill, producer on the Halloween movies. So quite an eclectic team of producers on this movie.
Go team, go.
I'm so good with dogs.
I'm a good boy.
I love that they cut to a reaction shot. The dog's like, what?
I just cheer with my hand bone.
I'm a dog. That's what I do. We're glad you're with us, Mr. Armor. And I'm glad you got it all synced up, Al.
Yay!
Somewhere in New England. Doesn't really matter.
Mr. I love the ants. Is the stage play based on this? Because the stage play that I've seen done is not this. Is not from this movie. It's another adaptation. It's created based on the game. Like there's no event. Yes, Kara. It's interesting because, well, of course, I mean, they're not going out to the front. They go to they're looking at, I think, the greenhouse. It's only glass. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Alfred Hitchcock has arrived.
Well, in fairness, Mr. Isle of the Ants, the one that I am familiar, I have seen is a musical. So it's very different. So good. Hillary, I only want that house if it comes with like full staff. Liz, it is. Mrs. White looking pale and tragic. Listen, listen, listen.
What was all that about?
What did you hear?
People talking?
Exactly. Ruby, I hope you have a wonderful time. It's so good. Da 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 da. Go, Miss Scarlet. Have you seen her audition for Lois Lane?
Oh, yes.
Woo.
Very energetic, very exuberant.
You're so nice.
I mean, she shouldn't have gotten the part, and she didn't. But she threw herself into it. And now here she is with young Doc Brown.
This is before he invents the flux capacitor.
Yeah, but like Well, really, but I mean, right before, because this is
Mhm.
1954, and he
1954.
invents the flux capacitor in 55. So
Yeah, the stress of trying to figure it out turned his hair white,
turned his
apparently.
hair white. Exactly, exactly.
I love her hat so much. So much. Look at that thing.
Yes. Are you Mr. Lenny or Mr. Squiggy?
Why is the car stopped?
So you can get a good look at the house.
I don't know. Akira, yes, probably, but I think he tossed them those big old slabs of meat earlier, and I think they'd rather have those. Like, yay, treats. Ghost Wheel, based on what we learn about him later, he shouldn't be.
You know, the way he picked her up and gave her a lift here, it was almost like he was a professional. He should drive a taxi. We were about to be.
Oh, there's no way because he can't pay.
Ginger ale.
Guys, she gives him. Oh, watch it. That's later, though. His secret. Well, haven't you guessed?
Ghost Wheel, would it be too dark to suggest that Andy Kaufman should have played Mr. Body? Is that too dark?
Butler. I love how I hadn't. It cuts. The female of the species is more deadly than the male, and it cuts to Mrs. White. Mm. It's not as easy as it looks. I think I could have held it until they cut. No, Mr. Umar, I was trying to slurp, like, because with the slurp. Awkward. Carrot where people die?
Well, maybe not just like this. French fries and country gravy.
No.
No?
Kara, not anymore. Yeah. So he works for you know who?
Ah.
Family planning.
I've seen you at the Eyes Wide Shut parties.
Sure do. Hence the product placement, Ruby. Presents. Al, very close. If you had fruit, what's that? If you had brandy. But coffee is off limits. That you have to ask for. We're cutting you off after 2 cups.
Well, they're never going to get to sleep otherwise.
Caffeine will kill you.
Hmm.
That's from Batman Forever.
I remember, unfortunately.
I do think Jim Carrey's delivery on that one was good. He did good at that. Kara, everything about this is exquisite. Kara, I'm partial to Madeira. You too, Mr. Body. Music.
Oh, they're finished their ham bones.
It's not the same dogs.
Well, whatever. Their dogs are dogs.
See, Kara. See, there you go, Kara.
Well, then that's why that dog is mad, because he didn't get one.
Yes, very sad. And he's out of the rain. The other puppies had a they were under the awning and the porch, and they had a nice little house. And none of you know who's blackmailing you. Another denial. Oh wait, that's later again. Yeah, these are the second class dogs. These are the backdoor dogs. You're welcome. No. No, he's not. Kara, precision matters.
That's such a great line.
Are you making moral judgments, Mrs. Peacock? Sorry.
It was good enough for Spiro Agnew.
But I did what I'm being blackmailed for. To be perfectly frank, I will be not perfectly frank. Double negative. You have photographs. Oh God, I love it. Just does not. I mean, that is technically true, as we find out later. Why would he want to kill you in public? Punctuation. Life after death. Now he's dead. I have a life. That was his job. He was an illusionist. He wasn't a very good illusionist.
All right, you need to stop.
Sorry. Although, and oh wait, I
Forgot something.
The physical comedy is so good. See, Mr. I Love the Ants, I really like it. They play it, the gay stuff really smoothly. And I think it's a genuine reaction. It's played up for a laugh, like, uh-huh. Especially as pawsy as he's been. So easy. Al, it comes up later. He says, he mentions the clap of thunder when he's doing the reveal, and it's not in the right spot. That's why I said, listen, what did you hear? People talking? Exactly. French horns, I think. I love this. For putting a candle in. Duh.
Obviously.
I love the boxes too.
Yeah.
Those black boxes with that dark indigo ribbon. Oh, so pretty. And it's clearly a not new pipe.
Yes.
Like there's some weathering on it.
Hey, these weapons seem familiar. Wait a minute. This is like that board game.
Look at that. That is a terrible wrench. And it's like, I mean, somebody is not taking good care of their tools.
Well, I mean, it doesn't need to be in good shape to cave somebody's skull in.
I guess maybe he was, saving money getting it from a pawn shop.
Yeah, he just got whatever he had around.
The dagger is very pretty, though. Mr. Other than I don't know if it was in a tool shed. I think that sucker was lying out. Mr. I love the ants. Good points.
Someone else.
So polite. Killaroo, is he?
I had no choice.
Are you dying? Are you dying? Are you dying? Are you
How you
dying?
feeling?
Are you dying? Hi, Dodge. So glad you're here. Duh. Won't you? So, fun fact, my grandfather's house has light switches like that with the push buttons on the wall. They're fun. Watch Mr. Green. The timing is so good. It's so subtle. I love it so much. Ah. Honk. Killaroo, I don't think you want that table though. Trump would agree.
Hmm. That's worse than anything we've done.
We'll make mistakes. Kleenex. Too late. Yeah, Kara, tell Miss Peacock too. Smoke it all the time. It's 50s. Great scream.
Appreciate it. Kara, yes, literally.
Mine or other women's? Husband should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable. I don't know. I'm the butler. I want to get the kitchen tidy. That was uncalled for. It's just, I mean, you don't get a breather. So that girl will go battle sail into L back. God, her accent. I love this. Kara, even a psychiatrist should be able to tell the difference between a patient who is living and one who is dead. Get off me!
Give us a hug. He was weekend at Bernie'sing.
They could have done. Not that any of that makes any sense, but okay, we'll just go with it. Kara, I'm partial to Miss Scarlet's when they first see the no brain, not the nurse, the cook.
The cook.
I don't know why my brain was saying nurse. I'm like, she's not a nurse. Shut up, brain. This is one that I don't think works because I mean it's essentially a fat joke.
Yeah, and she's not even that big.
She's not that big,
Like,
and also fat jokes are not cool, but now in fairness, there's 3 of them for Mr. Body, and they're still struggling with him too. So maybe they do you even lift, bro? Maniac about. I love that. Kara, Professor Plum didn't seem to mind. Did you notice that hand position? Kara, but then we would have missed those wonderful moments of the hat flapping in her face.
Yeah.
I love those doorknobs too. So pretty. The whole house is beautiful. Kara, I think we'll get a few more. I love this so much. God, it's so good. God, her delivery is so good. I suggest we handle this in proper military fashion. I love this. That is one of the jokes that I did not get when I was 10. And Ruby, I will say, so that after when I was in junior high or high school, I read a joke that said, a guest at a dinner party was telling a long-winded story, and he said he, summed it up by saying, and to make a to make a long story short, and the other dinner guest interrupted him and said, too late. And I was like waiting for the punchline because it becomes a running gag in this one. And I was like, I didn't realize that was a punchline. Oh,
I can still hear you.
oh yeah. If it's lines from, I'm trying not to say them, but sometimes I just have to
She's
say
trying
them
not to
along,
actually speak the lines. Yeah.
And I really don't know how far off I am time-wise because there's a 30-second delay, but our time code should be synchronized with us watching the movie. So it should synchronize if you're synchronized with that.
Yeah.
There shouldn't actually be a delay between what we're doing
No.
here and so. Killaroo, you were right. You were right. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
The disgust there. It's so good. And of course, all of the, foreshadowing of, Mrs. White, no man in his right mind would be caught alone together with you.
And then he's the guy, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's the guy. And then, of course, Mr. Green and Yvette. I don't know where my time code is. Where are we at? What did it say I'm at? Yeah, interesting. Ours says, I don't know, maybe yours has like 10 minutes of, maybe yours has like the extra stuff at the beginning. I don't know. Interesting. But I'm glad you're able to synchronize it with us. So.
Yes, indeed.
All right. I love that lingering shot. It's just, we just say,
here I go.
I'm totally heading up the stairs. No, just that. She remembered her manners.
Which one of them is going to search the bat cave?
Joe, wow. Go together. And just the leaning back is just makes things even more impressive. See, Killaroo? Exactly. Coming.
Well, Kara, he lives in a nice house.
Only the best rats live here.
Yeah, he's an upper class rat, you know.
I think this entire scene is so hilarious because the drapes don't go all the way to the floor. Like,
Right.
we have
Just look at the bottom.
This long drawn out, and like you can look across the room. There's no shoes.
Well, that's why all the heat's getting out.
Oh, I mean, they're rich. They don't care about that kind of thing.
That's true.
Utility bills. Those 1%ers, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. I love the answer. They had to have it in there for some reason. There you go. We'll search the ballroom. Her lights are out now. Or that might have been the other motorist car. So, Kara, I think the cop later mentions that he found an abandoned car, and they mentioned that the motorist he asks if the motorist came up here, and they all say no. Whereas Miss Scarlet could have just said, "Oh, that's my car. I got to ride with Professor Plum." But they all deny it because they've found the motorist dead by that point. So I think the idea is that it was his. Or maybe it's just their guilty consciences. I love Miss Scarlet's dress, by the way. I like that. It's gutsy of him. Thump. Robert Bryland, that's kind of one of the clues. I don't like you. I mean, that's a that was smart. That should be another clue drinking game, counting the wiggles. Maybe they'll just go away. Yeah, Kara, that was a great shot from a vet.
But Kara, this is a movie. It always works in movies.
I love this so much. Although breaking down doors works in movies too. Wonk. Shut up, Mr. Green. Robert, I shouldn't be muted. I'm trying not to recite the entire movie. So that way, like, you can just sort of like hide me and, not be annoyed. Yeah, Killer. I think it's more a sense of panic. Like, we did lock him in. Get him out of the way. The panic there. Love it. Officer. His face. All right, Kara.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Armor, John Rhys Davies, that was not John Rhys Davies in MacGyver. That was Brian Blessed.
A limousine.
A little black car. A limousine.
I love this. Yeah. Jeff. Smile. Listeners, I think when I watched it, there was enough said, like, he's on everybody else's phone. Why shouldn't he be on mine? Of course, I knew as a kid what the FBI was. So, like, I don't know if I knew about like wiretapping and stuff, but like, it pretty much tells you, oh my goodness, I have my pride flag up. Please don't mind the mess. I've been trying to organize the office. That's what's behind the pride flag. Congratulations. Now I just realized that. I didn't know it was that for it. Yeah, I love that. The whole thing. Oh, I love this.
Joe, yeah, John Rhys Davies and Brian Blessed have, although I think Brian is a bit, hammier in his acting, but
Yeah,
they're
more
very
over the
similar.
top.
Very similar.
Brian Blessed. Gordon's alive? Mr. I Love the Ants. That's a very good question. Al, I think it is. Although why, I don't know.
So the cook can watch TV.
Robert, I'm not sure what that means. Ow, ow, ow. Hi, Mr. 96. Haha, I'm in danger. Wait. See, now they're just mad because they call the house ugly. Robert Ragland, I've heard that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Three more murders, 6 altogether. This is really getting serious. Renee, the Amazing Me, we're watching Clue. So
we're watching Clue.
It up. It's on Peacock. I've got it through our home server or DVD. Well, Robert Ragland, they're rich.
Yep.
I think that's the best one line ever. I at least no, Steve, you know of more movies than I do. So
Indeed.
maybe you could come up with something with. Yeah, GJ.
HB Haggett. I mean, they did say it was somewhere in New England, so.
No worries about moving that one because not in the kitchen.
Just leave her here.
I know who did it. Squish, 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 squish. The slurps.
Kara and Mr. Armour, I think I don't remember Robin of Sherwood well enough, but you're thinking of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Brian Blessed was
Yes.
Robin's dad in that, in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And Sean Connery was Richard the Lionheart.
Granted, I'm curious why it had to be. He really winds that one up. Yeah, Wadsworth actually starts going through the papers looking for Mr. Green's story. Run down the hall. Yeah, there are actually some issues with some of the other with the sixth one as well, or the third one that has. Anyway, Liz the whole way through. He looked so proud of himself. Yes. I love this. Just GJ, the endings were released geographically. So what part of the country you were in determined whether you got ending A, B, or C.
No.
I have no idea when he says no why he's so nasally, but I love it. I love it. When I was Munchkin, I thought it was Eve-ette, like Evettt, Yvette.
Yvette.
Love that. Can you keep a secret? Yes, so can I. Hi, Matthew. I'm so glad you can make it for this.
Yeah.
We're watching Clue. Here's the time code. Yeah, you know who.
Yeah.
Vlop. Now we'll move her in. Finally, Liz. We know it's destroyed because he says so. Oh, I love this. I love this part. You beatnik.
You
I love it
beatnik.
so much. Our lives are in danger, you beatnik. Not again. Turn on the lights. I love this. Why? I don't know. Rancher Matt, exactly. Who? Me too. No, Liz, it's 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, not 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1. How many has she fired? I think just 2. And also, this doesn't make sense. She needs to use the bullet to get away, but then you don't get this. Kara, she wouldn't have a way to reload it because, like, where are the other bullets? She didn't bring it with her. Great reaction from him. Ah! What the hell? No. Hurt. Did it all. Robert Ragland, yes. I love the harmonizing on For She's a Jolly Good Fellow in this one. That's yeah, the second ending is not as strong as the others. But I mean, using the one bullet left to hold them hostage rather than threatening to saying you're going to shoot somebody with the last bullet and thinking you're going to get away. Oh. Ah. Of course. Vacuum cleaner joke. There's nothing like a Hoover when you're dealing with dirt. And the floodlights.
They had that shit ready.
Oh no. Snap. Da, 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 da. easy. Yay! I thought when I was a kid, I thought it was stripping event. I didn't know the word stripping yet.
Stopping.
Here we go.
He cuts her off. I love it.
Oh. I love how chill Miss Scarlet is about the whole thing every time.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. Nope. Kara, yeah. I mean, they just look like they're having a blast. I have always been intrigued by that last line. Because I mean, it seems to indicate that him being gay was an excuse for him to be there, like as part of his cover. But she could be his beard.
It's very true.
Oh yeah, it's so good. It's so good. So good. Okay.
All done.
So much fun. So good. Just so much fun. Such a
It
fun.
is a lot of fun. And I mean, I saw someone in the chat pointed out, yeah, Liz said the actors are trying not to laugh.
Oh
That's
yeah.
I think that's my favorite part specifically of Tim Curry's performance, because you can see in a lot of his lines, especially when he's running through, the whole scenario at warp speed at the end, like
Yep.
as he's narrating everything, like there's just the hint of a grin in almost everything he says. Like he's just repressing a laugh or a smile or something. It's fantastic. Well, and yeah, Killer Roo, Michael McKean is fantastic. They're all so good. It's
Yeah.
such a great cast. It's one of the best. I think I said when we announced that we were doing this, it's one of the best comedy ensembles in a movie of the
It's
entire
so good.
decade. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everybody is just a killer. Like they're all great.
Liz, I'm so glad that that didn't detract from it. Actually, it was not, like I said, y'all can just like close our part of it and just watch the movie. Robert, I think that the statement about him being a plant was that the FBI was investigating the blackmail, and that he
Yeah,
was inserted by the FBI. He was planted by the FBI, not that Mr. Body planted him or something like that.
and also, probably best not to think too hard about any of it.
Yeah.
Like
Joe, I don't know. I mean, I mean, they had to have a good cast because their performances were so good. They're cutting up so much that I don't know. I mean, and Steve, you and I have talked about this about the. Well, see, I don't know why it's so often with the Golden Girls, but it's like, oh, B. Arthur or the
Betty White.
Betty White or Rue McClanahan, someone or whoever, any of them. The others are trying not to laugh. So I think it's often Betty White when she tells one of her Rose stories.
Yeah, because
And
everybody else is like
but we've talked
reacting
about
to
it.
yeah.
The characters are trying not to laugh, like because they're trying not to laugh at
Yeah.
their friend Rose. So the actors are acting like they're trying not to laugh. That's why it looks that way. So but I mean they're professionals and they're really good at their work. So it's more fun when it's sort of in the background and it cuts to Christopher Lloyd, and he's just, because she couldn't remember her line and she's just kind of going for it and trying not to drop the scene, and they'll cut it in whenever. If she can recover the line, they'll just edit it in. And they're all just kind of waiting for her, like, is she gonna get it? I'm ready for my, what in the hell is she doing? And they're all just the perplexedness of it, like, okay, is just absolutely delightful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I really don't think they're Rancher, I don't think they're breaking up. I think that they laugh in character. I mean, and it is funny as well. So I mean, you can pull from what you're really, ideally you pull from what you're really feeling to have that authenticity there.
Yeah, I
But
know
yeah,
that
oh
was.
my
I don't
gosh.
know. I can't remember if it was the Fish Circus story or. But yeah, there are so many great Rose stories in the
Oh my
show,
goodness.
and and it always goes with the other characters who are listening, either rolling their eyes or becoming more amused by it, while Rose is taking it very seriously. And yeah, it was a clip I saw people sharing on Twitter,
Yeah.
and it was being shared as though it was like, the cast, like the other actors were close to legitimately laughing. And I watched it, and that's obviously not what's happening.
Yeah.
Like they're acting like they're laughing because that's what they're supposed to do in the scene, and
Yeah.
it looks real because they're good actors. Like
Yeah. I absolutely had a blast with that. So
me too, and I figured you would. It's one of your favorite movies.
it really is. So, and so we watched and we talked about, we watched Jaws last weekend, you, me, and Jason.
Yes, your first
And
time.
yeah, and it made me think of, and I think I thought this before, but I think I brought it up to you, but I don't know if I mentioned it, the possibility of maybe watching the movie that has the same actor from Jaws.
Robert Shaw. Yes, we could watch The Sting. Another Another all-time
Yeah.
favorite of yours.
And unfortunately, unlike, because we talked about doing Gosford Park, but it's not, I think it's not streaming anywhere easily available.
I
And
think we checked, and I couldn't find it streaming anywhere that would be accessible to most people. But yeah, we could. I mean, I'm not sure where the Sting is streaming now, but I'm sure it's streaming someplace.
Yeah.
It might even be
So
on
if,
Netflix. It was on Netflix a little while ago. I'm not sure
well,
if it's
wait,
still
I mean,
there or
we've
not,
got the
but
internet right here. Hey, internet.
that's true.
Hey, internet.
But yeah, we could watch the Sting
Where is
for
the
another one.
Sting streaming? Dun, 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 dun. The internet says Apple TV, YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh.
Oh, is it not? Was it like
Sting
you'd
on
have to
Prime
rent it or
Video.
something?
Well, I don't. Here we are. Just Watch. JustWatch.com says rent. Rent. Ah, what? What? This is such a great movie.
Okay, well, it's fine. That's fine. We can.
Well, maybe we'll think of something else, and then
we'll think of another thing, and
things
then
change.
hope
We'll figure
yeah.
something out.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's so good. Yeah, Joe, I mean, it's aged quite a bit, and it's still brilliant. It's
Well, because
delightful.
it's just, I mean, there's something
For
about
me,
because
the
it's
only thing that doesn't land is the fat joke. Because again,
Yeah.
like you said, she's just not that big. She's
I'll
not
tell you
that big.
what. I mean, the reason why I think it works so well is because it's a farce, and farce farce is a comedic form that if it's done well, it's basically timeless.
Yeah.
Because the laughs come from the timing, you know, and like timing is timeless. Like it doesn't matter what cultural context or, you know, what, like, it's just, if the actors hit their marks and, you know, everything happens exactly when it's supposed to happen, it's almost, it's like a comedy machine.
Sort of, but I mean, there's a lot of the humor is dialogue based. I mean, there's jokes in the script in what they say.
But it's a rat-a-tat-tat. It's like a rhythm that, you know.
Rhythm, but it's not just the rhythm. And honestly, that's what makes it so rewatchable. I mean, there's so many jokes, and there's line after line. You'll lose some of the jokes if you're laughing at the jokes, because you know, they come up with. So yeah, Ruby, I think it feels like it's played for laughs, but you know, like I said, they also struggle with Mr. Body, who maybe it's a dead weight thing, but it doesn't. I think because they try to move her before they try to move Mr. Body, that's when we really it comes across as an she's fat, especially with Mr. Green at the beginning. You know, somebody help me, please. So Martin Mull.
Did Martin Mull die today?
Today.
I didn't realize that. Wow, that's spooky timing.
Yeah, right before Halloween too. No, just kidding.
Yes, indeed. Apparently he did. Well, rest in peace, Martin Mull. What a fantastic actor.
Thank you for sharing your brilliance with us, Martin Mull.
One of the great comedic. I mean, he's one of those guys that, like, you know, always contributed, always made whatever he was in better for him being there, and was in so many things.
Yeah,
and was always fantastic.
Liz Hills, I think that's great. I think it would work better if, you know, because you have, let's see, you have a number of women who could have moved the body, and if they'd moved Mr. Body after the men had struggled to move the cook, and the women hadn't had any difficulty with it, I think that would have played out a little bit better. It's kind of a little confusing as well. So,
Well, and what I was going to say is, as far as Clue aging, I mean, other than the fat joke at the expense of the maid or the cook, and maybe some of the gay stuff for Michael McKean's character, although that's really not nearly as offensive as it could have been, given the fact that it was made in 1985, and, you know,
exactly,
like, you know, overtly, like, anti-gay humor was still fairly normalized in popular culture.
It's really not. They have that
it's aged really well. Yeah, like there are things
with Professor Plum, but that's, I mean, it makes sense totally in character.
Yeah,
you know,
there are things from comedies that were made after this that have aged a lot, you know, more poorly than this. I mean, with you know, gay jokes and transphobic jokes and you know, racially insensitive jokes. Like it's surprising how, you know, how much of it that you can enjoy without having to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt because of the time it was made. It really holds up very well. in that respect.
And then I have the other possible and you know, racially insensitive is, you know, I have no idea how popular monkey's brains are in Cantonese cuisine. And it's interesting that he says Cantonese specifically and not Chinese.
Not Chinese. Well, he's very well. Obviously, Szechuan cuisine doesn't use monkey brains.
Clearly, I wouldn't know. I mean, I can't read it, you know, and I don't cook, so there's also that. So, yeah, Liz, I like that he's like, I feel no personal shame or guilt about this, but I have to keep it a secret because of my job. So yeah, and most of the other characters don't bat an eye.
It doesn't become like a running joke in the movie. It's not like there's a bunch of like most of the laughs that are at that character's expense are not haha, he's gay. Like that, there really aren't any jokes like that. Like you said, except for Christopher Lloyd, like getting up and moving.
That one also time. A little bit about, you know, when Yvette says, I'm frightened of the dark, who will go with me?
Oh, and like, he's
the
like,
other men are like, yes, yes. And he's like, nah, I'm good.
No, thank you.
So, I mean, and it's more the fact, I mean, they could play that with a straight man who's not interested in her, you know, that he's just, you know, he's a fuddy-duddy, you know, they could have played it that way. They could have played it straight.
Oh, homophobic. Yeah, Killaroo Ace Ventura is a really good example. I mean, it's like, oh boy, that ending, that reveal, the reveal of
I don't know that I've ever seen it. Because
super transphobic.
I never found out. I never found that one funny. That one, most of Jim Carrey stuff, I didn't like. I didn't like I think I did watch Dumb and Dumber. Didn't like that one. I did have fun with The Mask. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's just fun, and it's not as, I don't know, loud. It's like it's over the top, but in terms of like the story, if that makes sense. Like it's not his in your face humor. And then Liar Liar was similar. You know, the story is farcical. But yeah. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. I always enjoy watching this, and I always enjoy, you know, watching movies with you guys. So,
and we'll figure out another one to do in maybe a month or two, or maybe we'll try to do one more before the summer's over.
Sometime in July. That's what I was kind of looking. I'm like, we need to come up with something. So we'll chit chat. I will say I'm actually not real keen on Ferris Bueller. Like I used to like it, but I guess maybe it's just because I'm old, but he's just a jerk. I don't like the way he treats his friends. So,
you know, when we watched it for late seating a few years ago, I kind of was like, I wasn't super crazy about it either. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like, you know, what a classic movie. I can't wait to watch it again.
So yes, you know, thinking back on, honestly, I feel, and again, maybe this is, but I feel like I always felt this way about the John Hughes movies that are sort of the Gen X thing. I'm just like, meh.
Even Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I'm mad on Breakfast Club.
I have to say, I'm mad on most of the Brat Pack stuff, but Breakfast Club I have a soft spot for. I'm a big Breakfast Club fan.
I mean, yeah, I don't dislike it. You know, there are no real strikes against it like there are for Ferris Bueller. But I mean, I guess I've also never really enjoyed the whole jocks and geeks and preps and you know, just. You know, the people that I knew, the other students that I knew, sort of like there was a lot of crossover. Like we had jocks who were in the honors classes, you know, sort of the all around. And
but I mean, honestly, just because it doesn't reflect your own personal experience doesn't negate the film.
Well, no, it doesn't negate the film, but it was like, okay, that's interesting, that's nice. But
Thomas mentioned, speaking of John Hughes, what about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Oh, it's so good.
So maybe we'll have to check that out and see if, you know, because I don't want to just like, I like, you know, talking with you guys about it and you know, sort of not having to pay attention to it the whole time. And which, not that I do anyway, as you know, if you know, come on Wednesday for DS9 and Poirot. But yeah. yeah,
All right.
we'll chit chat.
Yeah, we'll figure something out, and we'll let you know ahead of time.
So yeah, I'm gonna head out. Oh, there's another one. I'm squeaking already, and like I said, I did not think I was gonna stay up for the debate last night. I didn't watch it.
But you stayed up.
I stayed up because I was sorting the contents of my writing implement drawer. So now I have pencils and I have pens, and I've checked. I think I've thrown. Oh yeah, here it is. I checked all of the pens. So
the ones a little squiggle for each one, just to make sure.
The ones that, well, for the ones that work, the ones that don't work, they're in the trash. So,
Killaroo, thanks for stopping by and joining us. It was good to have you, and thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
So let's also remember. So today is Friday. Sunday, Steve has the online Patreon hangout. So at noon
patrons and
Eastern.
members. Yep.
So that's a live stream. So be a big old group of folks, and that'll be at noon Eastern on Sunday.
Correct.
And then if you enjoyed this, you can have a not nearly as long version on Wednesday at 6 p.m. So like most of the streams, 6 p.m. we're going to be watching Deep Space Nine.
That's correct.
And what episode is it?
The Darkness and the Light.
Okay, great. And that is one I have or not typically, but I have not seen the DS9 episode. So I'm coming into those cold. No idea what this is about. So we alternate between that and Poirot, which I'm familiar with and is new to Steve. So we sort of flip-flop those.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. And then next Friday, there is another live stream. And this one, if you are a patron or a channel member, you can participate in, because you will get a notification from Steve that says you can send an ask, and you can send in a question up to 1,000 characters, and Steve will read it on air and give his thoughts.
That's correct.
And boy, does he have a lot to say.
Yep.
That's how that works. So yeah, and so bunch going on. If you are not a channel member, you can click the button, which is somewhere
the
down
join
here.
Button. Yeah.
The join button.
The video on the YouTube page. Yep.
Yep. Or you can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives. Support there. It works either way. And then also in the description down here, don't forget there are a number of nonprofit organizations, links to those. And then there's also links to CharityLinks. There's a link to CharityLinks.page, which has GoFundMe's and Ko-Fis and things like that from some friends of ours and some associates who could use some personal financial assistance. So if you have the means and you can help people, helping people is good.
It sure is.
So, yeah.
So shall we pull this train into the station?
Yep. Let's close the door on
all right.
another evening with us.
Yes, indeed. Something like that. So I will see you all on Sunday at noon. So some of you will be in the hangout with me, I imagine, and the rest of you can watch on YouTube. And then Dana and I will be back on Wednesday for Trek Reluctantly.
Awesome.
So that's it. Thanks for watching Clue with us, everybody.
Happy Friday and have a great weekend. Night, folks.
Bye, everybody.